since you have the list of.
Hello and welcome into week one power ranking show. I am your host, Jackson, along with co-host Thomas and Cole. Oh, actually, Thomas is a guest this week. Sorry, Thomas is not a host.
It's still up for debate. We're still debating.
Thomas is not he's still below us. So
might be shortly taking over the podcast.
we're recording this.
To come out.
We're recording this on Wednesday night before week two, week one in the books. What you guys want to talk about week one? We can talk about football first. Some pretty surprising games. Thomas, what did you think about week one overall?
Overall, surprising that there is a level of sophistication in the offense, but also the defenses, they kind of look gassed, which that doesn't seem surprising to everyone. First half, most of the defenses were okay to keep up, but then in the second half, some of the defenses fall short. We have lots of injuries. So whether or not they've been actually doing weight training or stuff during the off season, that's up for debate. But lots of injuries in week one, and you got to think that the COVID atmosphere had something to do with that. So
for sure,
very interesting and exciting week one. Football's back, so getting back into it.
I expected a lot more penalties than I feel like there wasn't that many penalties. Maybe I just didn't notice, but it felt like a lot less than normal.
That is an astute observation, my co-host. Well done.
Thanks. Thank you.
And Thomas, our guest, that was very nice of you. Of course, we had, there were a couple big games.
Who do you guys think of the contenders through week one?
Well, I'll start with the most important game. Colts lose one to the Jaguars.
That's very.
Minshew's a lot better than we thought, I think.
I don't know if that's the takeaway.
Score was Jacksonville 27, Colts 20. I think we all can imagine that we expected it to be a lot further apart than that.
Wow. Bad. Thank you. And we also, RIP, we have to take a moment of silence for Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
The beloved Marlon Mack, out for the season, 20 Achilles. We can talk about that later, but
Mack truck blew a tire.
Yeah, he was so good.
The Bills looked very good.
Bills looked really good.
They are my team to watch this week.
Okay.
They look super strong, and even though they kind of slacked a little bit on the defense with the Jets, their offense was clicking on all cylinders, it seemed like. So
Kansas City looked great, as always.
Sure, the defending champs. No, it's really hard to repeat, so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Baltimore, I feel like it's not even – we didn't even need to talk about, like, how badly they beat down the Browns because it was just, like – it was so bad that, like, you just forget about it. Like,
right.
You think if Cleveland doesn't make the playoffs this year, you think Baker's on the hot seat?
Probably.
I think gotta be.
He's got to be. I mean, he's on every commercial, but he'll make the playoffs again.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising.
I think
he had a great rookie season.
Yep. And then, Thomas, your Super Bowl champions looked really good this weekend, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
Ooh.
So Jackson and I were talking about this earlier. The Saints, we knew going in, they're the same team every year, very strong. The Saints are going to plateau the entire season. They're going to be a very good team. But I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were just kind of glued together. They're just trying to figure things out. Not a lot of time during the offseason. But their success, I think, is just going to skyrocket. It's going to increase over the course of the season. I think we're going to see a completely different Tampa Bay Buccaneers team than what we saw in week one. But some promising things, and then also some things to look out for, especially with Tom Brady's performance. Sorry, Sean.
Do you think it goes you think Brady's going to get a little bit better? Or he pulled a Jameis Winston and threw a really bad pick six there.
Yeah, he definitely –
This is your king?
Right. Well, I think it's going to take some time. Tom Brady, obviously, you can't count him out. Every time people think that he's done, he comes back and excels. So I expect a big week from him this week, and then going on. He's not going to be someone to just go down the dumps. He's going to he's gonna fight back. He's gonna watch the film this week, and he's gonna be on fire this week. So watch out for him.
We
On
can't go.
fire.
We can't go without talking
Or
about
a
the
bit.
Sunday night football game, where Cole's King loses to the Rams. The Cowboys lose to the Rams.
I think
What do
you
you guys
mean
think
Martin.
about that?
Martin,
Not cool. I would
Martin,
never.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, like I said in the group chat, every year the Cowboys are so hyped up. They do have a lot of talent, a lot of big names, and it's just they end up going 8-8. Like it just doesn't.
And they're yeah.
I mean, the
And they're
Rams made the Super Bowl
the
2
LA
years ago.
Rams.
Rams did look better.
Yeah, they look strong.
They look a lot better
They
than.
look like they were.
I will say neither
is
the
promising.
Chargers nor the Rams looked like a Hard Knocks team to me. Like typically the Hard Knocks teams are like terrible, right? And
Yeah,
I guess I'm just used to the Browns and then the Raiders.
The Chargers
looked really
beat the
bad.
Bengals, so that wasn't like that.
True. But
And they almost lost. They lost
almost
on a.
lost.
They
should've
won
lost.
on a.
Well, we can talk about
Yeah.
it later, but okay. So, any other words about Week 1 football?
I don't think so.
All right.
Let's go. right into
So
it.
next we had so when there is football, there's fantasy football, and we're going to talk about Week 1 briefly. I'm going to go through the scores of Week 1. Let me share my screen real quick. I'm working with a weird mouse, so be with me. So we don't really have to touch on this one first. Respect to the Josh game, and just like that. And then, all right. So fuck Sacco loses the feeling chubby.
No, they won.
Devontae
They
looked
won.
really good. Sacco loses. Lenny looked bad. And
The Packers look strong.
Michael-
Packers look really good.
Aaron
Their
Rodgers
defense
is
can
back.
just hold up.
Michael
Aaron
Thomas
Rodgers
looked
back.
really bad. Or
Discount double check.
Michael Thomas got hurt.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
shut
a
down.
big hit on him. But Gordon found the end zone, and that helps. I guess Sean doesn't really have big
Any
name
running backs?
but
Any running backs? I touch on this in my power rankings.
yes. Okay. Next was Super Cam takes on the three-headed monster. Big Z gets the dub. Cam started Derek Carr over Rodgers.
He also
Derek Carr was
had-
playing the Panthers, right?
Huh?
Derek Carr was playing the Panthers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is they're not a good defense, which I get it, but
Yeah.
also Aaron Rodgers against the team that lost their top 3 cornerbacks from last year. So
Right. And then
Matt
Zach
Ryan looked strong.
Thielen was really good. Go ahead, Tom.
Matt Ryan looked really strong for Atlanta.
As
They
always.
could just again get their defense. Yeah, as always, consistent.
he
So,
threw the ball like 52 times. I love it.
right. Not so much Todd Gurley action, but
He scored a touchdown, and I can't ask for more.
All right, so that's that matchup. Then we had Daryl Lick My Balls versus Feed Me. And he scores 105 and loses. That's tough.
That's tough.
It's
Jackson
crazy how him and the other guy have
5.
It's crazy how him and the other guy have the same record right now. But what do you guys think? I mean, Cam looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if he looked healthy, though. He ran the ball 15 times, which that's probably not going to stay. Like that's a lot for a quarterback. And if you're trying to keep him healthy, it's probably going to be less than that. But if he can find the end zone, rushing the ball at least once or twice every couple of games, then he's going to be. Then my prediction could turn out, pretty good.
Yeah, I think Cam is really good. And Cam, I think we all agree that healthy Cam Newton's always been top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like his fantasy value's been crazy, but
fantasy value.
But the injury concerns is, I guess, why people were.
And they still don't have very many weapons in New England for him to throw the ball to. They have Edelman, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then Feed Me had Zeke with 2, Mark Andrews with 2, Lamar being Lamar. I mean, a lot of points there. He looked good. Cole looked good.
Performance.
Yes, he did.
Martin, I'm sorry.
Martin, yeah.
And
Tiny
then
Giants.
the next matchup was the Tiny Giants with the Kyler Murray and D-Hop combination. What did you guys think about that matchup?
I mean, it was close because I watched the games with them, and it was close like the entire day. They were like, they were projected like 1 or 2 higher than each other throughout the day, switching back and forth. And then Kyler Murray just kind of had like 2 late touchdowns and kind of ran away with it. But make no mistake, it was a close game, and John had a good game. Russell Wilson's here. He's amazing.
Yeah, the final score was 24 Arizona, 20 San Francisco. And I think that speaks more towards Arizona's skilled positions with Kyler Murray and their offense really taking charge than San Francisco's fault. I think that this week we'll see that San Francisco is still, a top 10 team, but Arizona just looked really strong this week coming out of the gate. So I don't think it's as much of a fault on San Francisco as it is. The Cardinals are just a good team, and they're proving it.
Now, Cole, what was your thoughts on Chris Carson? He gets 2 touchdowns in the game, but only 6 carries. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, he did most of his, his damage, as a receiver, and the kind of the same with Dalvin. I think they combined for like 50. Those 2 players combined for like 50 rushing yards on the day, but they had like 4 touchdowns total. So
that's a little scary, but I was a big on Chris Carson going into the season. So they looked good. Both those teams did too. John did too. Julio got 157 yards.
That's 15.7 with no touchdown. That's always impressive.
That's the definition of Julio Jones, though. He doesn't score.
That's Julio.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Jones
TD Julio.
Too. The last matchup was Tom's going to talk about this one.
Yeah, it was a tough one, nail biter between Johnson and I. He's my kryptonite. I can't say much more. Jonathan always seems to have my number. It doesn't matter what team I have. Just so happened to be the first game of the week of the year this year. Calvin Ridley really kind of saved me. It initially looked pretty bad with Mahomes and his quarterback. I forget who he had, but basically went even, and then his running backs really went off. Deshaun Watson and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was a superstar. You could see why he was picked, in the first round, second round of every draft, even though he's a rookie. He just seems to fit so well within that offense. And, as much as he's a great running back, it's hard to say, is it him or is it just the offense and the amount of weapons that they have that, they're only able to play a 6-man front. And that's a lot of holes for running back to try and run through. So it was a close matchup. Gotta give it to Jonathan, but we'll be back. We'll bounce back.
How are we doing on time, Jackson?
We are like at 11 minutes, so we're doing good. So I will talk about this. This was very disappointing. Yeah. I had to sit here and watch all of y'all motherfucking players get 3 touchdowns, and go crazy. So many people went off in week 1, and your boy had nothing.
Should have just drafted better players.
My whole team. I have no excuses. My team's terrible. I expect to be the number 12 seed in the power rankings, and rightfully so. My team.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Just Dax just not.
I had to watch Josh Jacobs. I had to watch 3 people for Cole's team. Josh Jacobs, Josh Allen,
Daniel Carlson would beat him. Just those 3.
And to top it off, with respect, my team name doinked a 30-yard field goal. So, nothing went my way.
He got like 7, right? Nothing like terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you guys worried about Derrick Henry only getting 13 points against the Broncos? What's your feelings on that? I was watching that game, and he just, I don't know if it was the first game jitters or something. He just didn't
I
seem.
mean, they gave the ball to him 31 times. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
34.
they definitely trust him. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
world trusts him.
Yeah, I mean,
I know he
Montgomery
trusts
is
him.
a huge volume guy, but he usually has a better rushing than 3.7 per carry.
Yeah, but I'll take
Absolutely.
that. I mean,
But yeah, but it's just
Against a
that's what
Denver
you get.
team, though, I mean that was something to see. I thought I would have expected him to kind of dominate. Maybe later in the season, we'll see that kind of.
I did think Tannehill
Oh,
was
yeah.
better. I didn't watch that game, but I saw
my
his
backup.
stats. Tannehill looked better. I thought Tannehill. I don't know. I wasn't. He looked good. The Titans won that game. It was close, right? He
Real
Yeah, it was
close.
kicking
close.
problems, right?
Yeah, I guess Gostowski missed like 3 field goals or something.
Yeah,
So
16-14 was that final score.
all right. So with that being said, we'll move on over to our website. I will send you guys the website. This is our website for the fantasy squad. This is the homepage.
Boom. Beautiful.
Cole has posted his week 1 power rankings article here.
Mike
We'll
Wazowski.
also be able to link our YouTube videos on this website. It's got a terrible name. This is the name, the link up here at the top.
You can't change
I don't know
that?
how to change. I can change it, but I have to pay money for it, so I'm not gonna do that.
don't
You guys
do
can
that.
type it in. You can type my username in. Anyways, so here featured on the front page is our power rankings, and Cole, I'll let you lead here.
All right. I can't control the computer, but
Yeah. All right. Well,
these are the power rankings. I just want, I was thinking about, all week of how to kind of do it. I was supposed to get them done tomorrow or yesterday. So the waiver wire acquisitions, I didn't counter those in because it was supposed to be done yesterday. But regardless, it's not just based on points for, or else that'd be easy. You can just go to the ESPN and sort by points for and see. But
We're different. We're different in this podcast.
Yeah, we're built different, and I think you'll definitely it's just week 1, and I feel like by this time next week you could see someone move up 6-7 spots. It's super early on, so don't take your rating to heart too much, whether that be really high or really low. So without further ado, we're going to go from number 1 to 12. So number 1, I had Caleb Way. He scored, I believe, the most points, 121. And for each team, I did a star of the week and a dud of the week. Usually, the dud of the week was someone who did lower than their projected score, and then the star of the week wasn't necessarily the person who scored the most points, but a lot of times it was Kyler Murray, with the help of DeAndre Hopkins, went off. I mean, those two look like they could be the number 1, QB wide receiver duo. If you scroll down a little bit, I talk about, Chris Carson and Dalvin Cook, 71 combined rushing yards on 18 carries for both of them. So that's not good, but it doesn't matter because they found the end zone multiple times, both of them. So, doesn't matter how you get points as long as you get them.
Right.
Devontae Parker, who was his dud of the week, got injured, which is why he was the dud. But Caleb did acquire Deontay Johnson, who could be big, I think.
We didn't discuss that, but yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, I went with Martin Cole Clark. He scored 114, which wasn't the second most points this past week, but I was very impressed with his team. Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson and Zeke both scored higher than Mark Andrews, but I was just super impressed with Mark Andrews. He had 10 touchdowns last season, which was the most of any tight end, and I think he can definitely, hit that mark again, especially with Hayden Hurst now in Atlanta. So I wouldn't be surprised if you scroll down a little bit. He's got I always liked Ronald Jones, and he looked good in week 1 as their main back. But I think as Fournette usually maybe becomes more comfortable with that team, Jones is gonna lose a few more carries, and they also have LaShawn McCoy, who is always threat to steal a few carries a game. And he has Kerryon Johnson. I think Kerryon Johnson was his dud of the week. Did basically nothing, as did DeAndre Swift, his backup, because Adrian Peterson came in and just kind of, he only had like 14 carries, but he had almost 100 yards. And DeAndre Swift dropped that wide open game-winning touchdown. So I'm not too, as much as I hate to say it, I'm not too confident on Kerryon going forward. I really hope he has a great season, but first game, just not looking great for him.
Adrian Peterson looked strong.
Yeah, he did.
He looked really good.
And go down to number 3. It's the Josh gang. I think I had a great week. Obviously, I had by far the highest margin of victory.
I can kick you from this, I would have to keep talking about it.
Just 3 players. Obviously, I don't think I can expect 32 points from Josh Jacobs every week. So that's why, I'm also got to
Hashtag stay
Titans
home.
D. Even though I think the Broncos only scored 13 points, they only had 3 points. And I started them this week. They were my backup defense. So they were I didn't really have any players that did, bad, but they were my dud of the week.
Must be nice.
Todd Gurley found the end zone. He had a solid week. Tyreek Hill also found the end zone. That was a big boost in Thursday night. On my bench, I had 17 from the Saints D, which I didn't expect from when they were playing Tampa Bay, and I had 22 from Darius Slayton. So he is going in the starting lineup next week. Not going to sleep on him any longer. At number 4, we got Jonathan. He beat Thomas by a pretty narrow margin. But star of the week, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I think Jackson was as well. We were both sleeping on him hardcore, and he looked the part of a. He looked We can go back, rewind the tape. He looked the part of of a star back right away, which I didn't really expect. And it could be another Kareem Hunt situation where he just starts off the season real on fire and then just kind of tapers off. But I mean, he's got the talent.
He's got the talent. He's got the offense behind him.
That's absolutely. His Lions D did get him 0 points, which I don't know why he drafted the Lions D. Even they were playing Chicago, which is a solid matchup. Oh, he didn't draft him?
No, I picked him up.
Oh, well.
He drafted the Bengals defense, which is what I talked about.
Not better. But he's got to play me next week, so I think that's going to be a matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week. All right.
I like it.
He also has some. I liked. He has Darren Waller, Juju, Henry Ruggs, and Eckler, which I liked what I saw out of most of those guys. And he gets Kenny Golladay, who has been injured on his bench. So when he gets him back, I think that's a dangerous team for sure. Number 5, we have someone who actually lost a game this past week, and this is this might be controversial to put Heath, who lost, at number 5, but he did score over 105 points, and he's definitely someone who can drop down these rankings very fast, as Le'Veon Bell, who was his dud of the week with 4.6 points. He's on the IR now, and also Chris Godwin is now in concussion protocol, which those are 2 of his, supposed to be 2 of his top point getters. So while he's number 5, he could be, 10, 11, 12 next week. Who knows? He plays JB next week, but he does have, in replacing Godwin, he's got DK Metcalf, Will Fuller. I think those are solid pieces. I can't really expect 21 out of Raheem Mostert every week. It's a different 49ers running back, kind of goes off every week. But he did get the Jags starter, James Robinson, which I think he had a solid game. So maybe that's someone that he can look to Wow, Le'Veon is out.
He got every carry on the Jaguars.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Every rush.
But if Derrick Henry and Cam Newton continue, obviously Derrick Henry is going to be good, and if Cam Newton continues to look like he did in Week 1, then Heath will be okay. Number 6, another team that lost. It is Thomas, and I can see he's very happy about that.
I'll take him. I'll take 6.
He scored a decent amount. He had almost 25 from Calvin Ridley, which I've always been kind of asleep on Calvin Ridley, at least on a fantasy perspective, just because there's Julio there. But I think he really showed me that he can be a guy you start every week, even with Julio. And I've also been, not very high on Kamara, and I think he only had, a gross 16 rushing yards on 12 carries. That's disgusting.
It was
but
bad.
18.7 points. Who the fuck cares,
2 touchdowns.
If you get 20 carries and 1 yard, as long as you get me 20 points,
Exactly.
And Patrick Mahomes it feels weird because Patrick Mahomes scored 20, which is it's a good game for a lot of people, but for him, that's just that felt like the median.
Right.
You're going to get more than that, I feel like more times than not. So, Thomas, I think your potential is high.
If Mark Ingram can come through, and I just picked up Peyton Barber, so we might be pushing him into a flex position later on. We'll have to see how he does against coming up next week.
And please, everyone, go read. There's some little tidbits in each of these that I'm not really going over.
Oh, yeah.
Please go read that.
If anything, just come through and look at the memes.
Yeah. Number 7, I have yet another team that lost, which is John. He scored almost 100 points. He has Russell Wilson, who I think this is the year he gets MVP. I think he showed that in Week 1. He had 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, threw 31 for 35, which is insanely, efficient. Julio Jones is going to get you – he may not score, but he's going to get you 100 yards. I'm definitely worried about his running back depth because Aaron Jones, I don't think he's going to replicate his success from last year. I still think he's going to be good. But also Jordan Howard and Tevin Coleman, not really reliable. And then both his tight ends, they combined for, Gronk and Austin Hooper. Those are 2 of the biggest tight end names, going into the season. They combined for 2.6 points last week combined. So that's not good. You can go on. Number 8 is Fakasako, who is Sean, I think. He had a solid win over JB, but as good as Devontae Adams is, I don't expect him to get almost 30 points every week. But on the other hand, you don't expect Michael Thomas to get 1.7, obviously. Now he's injured, and I'm not sure when he'll be back. But when Michael Thomas is healthy, he's probably got the best duo of wide receivers in the league. But on the other hand, running backs not so much. He's got Melvin, he had a good game, but he's still kind of with Phillip Lindsay and Leonard Fournette, who I think he had 5 snaps in that first game. I think he definitely gets more comfortable with the offense, and they definitely kind of ease him into it. But going forward, if Melvin Gordon doesn't have the season that he did, 2 years ago, then big problems for Sean, I think. Number 9 is Zach, 3-headed monster. And I went out and said that Zach is my sleeper pick for this year for a championship just because his ceiling is so high. We all know how good – I mean, look at that, man. That's not a Photoshop picture. It's totally real. Saquon Barkley, running for his life, he's not going to get you, he had, I think, 6.6, which is kind of better than it looked like he was getting early. He's going to be okay. He's too talented unless he gets injured, which is a possibility. And speaking of injuries, James Conner went out pretty early. And even when he was in, he had like 6 carries for 9 yards, nothing like pretty bad. And the backup, Benny Snell Jr., who played at Kentucky, he was a star, and he came in and played pretty well. So even when James Conner comes back, I'm not so sure that, he has, he's going to be the bell cow.
Right.
Adam Thielen looks like he's totally fine being the guy in Minnesota. Matt Ryan is always going to be a good fantasy quarterback, fantasy-wise at least. They threw it 52 times. You can't ask for much more than that.
Right.
But I think if everything goes right for Zach, he can definitely compete for a championship.
If anything, he can finally just lay James Conner to rest and pick up someone else, and maybe he gets 6 points out of that position. But hey, it's better than the 1.7 or whatever.
I have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure he picked up the Snell guy.
It would be smart. It would be very smart because he played well, I think.
Carries, he played really well, so pretty sure it's active. I don't know.
Number 10 is Cam. He lost to Cam. Star of the week was Christian.
Cam, you saw this coming. Cam, come on.
But Cam, your dud of the week was your decisions, because
it all started with the draft.
Aaron Rodgers over Derek Carr. That's an obvious one. I won't fault you. I won't fault you too much for trying to start N'Keal Harry because I really liked him going into the season. But and I know Mike Evans, there was some injury concerns there, and I understand not wanting to start Robbie Anderson right away. But foresight's 2020, hindsight's 2020, and it don't look too good, buddy. If he were to make 2 different changes in that roster, he'd be sitting 1-0 easy. He got Adrian Peterson late in the draft, which is looking really smart. I do like Keenan Allen had a bit of a down game, but I do like him going forward, even with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. That's fine.
Tyrod looked terrible.
Yeah, that's fine. But there's plenty of wide receivers that fine fantasy-wise that, like Terry McLaurin last year.
I think you're just gonna have to adjust. Like he's not gonna be Keenan who you think he is with.
Yeah,
I think Tyrod's really bad.
Right. For a number 10 on the power rankings, though, the promising side is that it is Cam's decision on whether or not his team's going to do well this week. You always love to see your bench having some sort of fill-in spots. Like it would be much worse if he was, in the power rankings without people on the bench that he could substitute for.
Cam
have
a very good week.
Is that what you're saying?
I think Cam's bench would have beat Jackson probably.
Oh, absolutely. But Cam, you can only go up from here. You just got to make game time decisions. Make the right ones.
Yeah. Coming in second to last is JB, which, I was looking at JB's, players. None of them really had, games like Gronk where he had like 1 point, or Michael Thomas where he had like 1.7. None of them really did that bad. They were all just kind of really disappointing, except for maybe David Johnson, who looked strong, which he's going to need him to look strong.
That looks like a really good pick. David Johnson looks really good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Nick Chubb will be fine. He was a beast last year. Browns, maybe not so much, but Nick Chubb probably be fine.
Kareem Hunt took a lot of those carries.
And I mentioned that in the article. Kareem Hunt. I was the guy who drafted Kareem Hunt his rookie year, and so I'm always have a bit of a soft spot for him. He's talented, and you can't. I feel like breathing down Nick Chubb's neck. I don't think he's going to be the starter or anything, but that's definitely something to look after. Other than David Johnson, Tyler Lockett was pretty much the only bright spot. Drew Brees, like Tom Brady, looked old. Maybe it was just an off game, but they're both in their 40s and they look like it. So I don't know if you can expect many 30-point games from Brees this season. And with Michael Thomas out, you can
bet.
Probably definitely cross that off the board. And coming up last and least is
our very
Jackson. Respect the specs. Took a beat down from me this week.
You keep bringing it up. Cole, you have the lowest points against. We haven't talked about that.
I know. I'm a great
really
fantasy defender.
You've been really lucky not to play any good people.
Strength of schedule, trash.
I mean,
He's
Odell
Notre
Beckham,
Dame.
that was real disappointed. Joe Mixon wasn't awful, but 5.1, you expect more from him.
he fumbled. Yeah.
Obviously, Marlon Mack, that's a huge blow. But Jonathan Taylor should be – I think he'll be the guy going forward, even though Nyheim Hines had a great game.
Yes, he's the guy.
Hollywood Brown is really talented, and I think, having the number one receiver on what could be the number one offense in the league is always going to be a good thing. Getting Miles Sanders back is huge. We don't know if he'll be good this season, but just that hope is going to be huge for you. And I even said, I don't think your team is that bad. It's just a bad week, which I think you would probably agree with.
Yeah.
But for your week 2 matchup, we do have a 12-1 matchup. You play number 1 power rankings.
Oh, I think
Giants.
Caleb's power ranking should be like 13 or 14, bro.
So
You see this team is pretty garbage.
Caleb, if you lose to Jackson, then
that's gonna be bad.
You're going down to 12. And
I hope I can crack 70 this week.
That's it for the power rankings. I know there's going to be some controversy there, especially with me putting a lot of 0-1 teams over some 1-0 teams. But it'd be too easy if I just put all the 1-0 teams ahead.
Gotta have some controversy.
And once teams get like 3-5, and once we get into the meat of the season, I think it'll be easier to kind of digest.
Absolutely.
All right, so thank you, Cole. That was really good.
You're welcome.
I really teams picks. Cole makes some really funny analysis on some teams, and again, if you just go for the memes and the pictures,
go ahead and read. I did work pretty hard on it, honestly.
Good job. Thank you, Cole. All right, so we are a little bit over time. We're like 35 minutes. Thomas, do you want to discuss Peaky Blinders real quick, and then we'll
yeah, we can do that real quick. You might have to go to your email because I don't know if it linked to the.
Here's last year's.
Here's last year's.
You want me to pull it up? Or?
So for those that don't understand, Peaky Blinders, Bookie is just another league that we do. You just bet on the spreads of the games. You have to bet on every game. And then at the end of the season, we just tally up how many wins and losses everyone has. And then we'll crown a champion this year. There's money involved, so it'll be a little bit more interesting. But every week we're gonna do like a lock of the week. Each of us will pick a game that really kind of stands out as a pretty easy pick as far as the spreads. And so that's last year, Jackson. But
Jackson, if you could fix
it.
it.
I don't know. The 2021 isn't pulling up.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll.
Just
go to your.
Look at us being prepared.
If you go to your email, I sent you a link to the.
Okay, I gotta stop sharing, so you guys don't see my.
Oh, come on. We just want to see.
I don't want to see
email
my email.
All the Wix notifications, I'm sure.
You're killing me. Where do I go here, bro?
Your Gmail.
Did you send it to me recently?
Yeah.
It's terrible. I hate that you're doing this now. You know what, Thomas? We're gonna bring Cole. Write this down.
This will go up against me in tallies. We'll make it short and sweet, but we're looking forward to week 2.
Is everyone in the league involved this year?
Most everyone. I don't know exactly.
Pretty awkward if you're
pretty awkward if you don't.
Not in it.
I hope this makes you feel bad for not joining, but so if you just go to week 1.
Working on
that. Yeah. So this week, everyone was, we're all across the board doing pretty well. Everyone's still in it. The lowest members only picked 7 right, and then on up from there
That's
with
gotta
Cole and
keep
Zach
bringing me up. No, I'm already down.
picking 11 right, which is, if you were part of the league last year, you understand that that's not to be expected every week. There are some weeks that just totally wreck us, where we have a 2-14, record. Those are the weeks that you just try to break even. But this week, I think Vegas had a real, no one really knows about these teams, so everyone's kind of giving lofty spreads.
It does kind of get harder as the season progresses, and I think most everyone last year kind of ended at about around 500.
Right, 45% to about 50% correct.
Let me discuss. So there might be some of you that don't know what this is. So these are the betting lines produced by Vegas every week. And what this number means, so this is a game between, I can't see.
Texans and Chiefs.
Texans and Chiefs.
Yeah. Where Kansas City is favored by -9. So this -9 is supposed to take it to even, basically, and so instead,
9-point
so obviously people think the Chiefs are going to win, so that wouldn't really be much of a bet. So they would produce a line like this, which is -9, and you're either betting where Kansas City will win by 9 or more, or actually by more than 9, or the Texans would win outright or lose by less than 9.
Less than 9. So it's like Houston. The easiest way to describe it is if Houston starts with a 9 head start.
Or
of the
yeah,
game.
Houston
So game starts at 9-0.
Right.
And then it goes on from there.
Right.
So this year, I mean, everyone pretty much hammered the Kansas City -9, Baltimore -8. I think we all understood that those are the high-powered offenses, and those that didn't picked against them, they got the wrong answer. So they were harmed in it.
Oh wait, look at Jesse's column. It says it looked like you put he looked like he put Denver plus 1.5, but you gave him the correct pick.
Oh yeah, did that change?
Wow, 1, 2,
trying to cheat.
4, 5. Jesse was 6 and 10. Lowest on the totem pole once again.
He's gonna be pissed.
The worst.
He didn't say anything.
Of course he didn't.
I would always encourage you to double check
I think you entered
my stats.
I had every pick,
but
I'm pretty sure.
But this week it was pretty well across the board. Everyone was like basically average, or Cole and some others really excelled with 10 or 11 correct picks. If you go,
a lot of the new guys were all positive except for John. So
John. It's impressive. The learning curve, obviously not harming a lot of people coming into the league. I know. Shout out to Heath, who also picked it up really quickly and ended up with a 9 and 7 start. Everyone's in the middle. If you go to records, Jackson, I'll just show. So, and scroll down the placement. So everyone can see if they're in the money or out of the money. I know we're still debating on exactly what placement get money, but every week it'll be we'll just show the placements and then go from there. So with the first week, there's not a lot of separation between first and ninth place, but
it'll grow.
It's really accurate. Even the least was 43%.
43%. So very good for
very detailed spreadsheet, Thomas.
Oh yeah, I'd encourage you just to look at it if you haven't. I'd put a lot of extra stuff into it. All right, so if we'll just go to week 2 and we'll pick our locks of the week. Some people the spreadsheet. Yeah, this is pretty new to everyone besides maybe 3 of you who have already looked at the sheet that went live this afternoon. But every week we'll go over like a steal that we see or a lock, which means
Lock.
you know, we for sure think that spread will be correct.
Where the Titans at?
So, Cole, if you want to start, and then I'll go, and then I'll give Jackson some time.
Sure. For my lock of the week, I want to go with Carolina plus 9.5 against Tampa Bay. Obviously, this season there's not really home field advantage, which would definitely change things, I think. But without it, Carolina, they may have lost their first game, but I think they looked pretty strong. And Tampa Bay didn't look that great. I think Tampa Bay still wins this game, but I think 9.5 is a little much. So,
9.5 is a huge spread,
yeah.
especially off of a Tampa Bay who looked a little iffy.
And when you have someone like, Christian McCaffrey, it's going to be hard for me to go against you in a 9.5 spread.
Oh, and so pause. Just so people know, the half points. So this would mean if the 8 would be to the Jaguars, and then 9 would be to the Titans. But if it's 6, and say Cleveland wins by 6, it's called a push, and that's where everyone in Vegas would just get your money back. And so here we just count it as negligible.
Yeah, we just drop it.
Okay, sorry, you can continue.
On to you, Thomas.
Okay, my lock of the week, I told Cole earlier, and I think he would agree with me. I'm going with the Buffalo minus 5.5. I was really shocked about that when I was putting in the lines. Buffalo looked super strong last week. Allen looked really good, and especially their offense looked to be clicking on all cylinders. And 5.5, you're looking at a little less than a touchdown of a line that you need to break as far as winning. And I think the Bills are more than capable of doing that, especially against the Dolphins. I think they're capable of doing that against, better than average teams, and the Dolphins are definitely below par as far as the NFL.
I agree.
Super low for me.
I like both of those. Or I think the Panthers plus 9.5 is like I agree with that.
Pick your own. Wow.
I know. I don't know. I like Saints minus 5.5. I like Seattle minus 4 at home.
You're not worried about Cam at all?
I think Cam's really good. They play the Dolphins, so I don't know. I think the Seahawks are really good. Like I think they're a Super Bowl type. I think they're at 4.
I don't think you're gonna see a Seattle minus 4 spread very often.
Also, I'm last pick for this, so don't take my word.
Seattle minus 4 is very low. I mean, never bet against the Seahawks. That's what I can tell you.
7.5 for the Steelers over the Broncos. That's pretty heavy. Falcons plus 4.5. I'm gonna go with that, and I might even choose that. That's gonna be my lock of the week. I might
Falcons
even
plus 4.5. Yeah, I mean,
the Falcons
are
both the sexiest.
I picked it.
Fucking betting team ever. Big Cat says it best, bro. They're just Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, TG3, Matt Ryan. Come on,
and as PFT said, they're the best team that fucking sucks.
Yeah, they never cover though.
If this was Atlanta minus 2, I might even pick Atlanta. I might even favor them.
They're winning straight up.
I don't feel confident about the Cowboys at all. And the Falcons showed some life against the Seahawks, which is impressive. So I would hammer Atlanta.
What about Mitchell to Mitchell at home against the Giants? What y'all think about that?
I'm not even looking at the home teams and the away teams.
Yeah,
it matters a lot. Travel.
Well, I think travel and you feel at home.
But I think a lot less than
I guess sure.
All right. You see, I picked the Giants.
This is gonna be my lock of the week. It's Atlanta plus 4.5.
All right, we did go over time a little bit.
We do. We're right at 50 minutes. So
wow, we're bad at this.
Thank you guys for watching. I will again put the little timestamps in.
We'll try to slim it down every week.
Yeah, we'll get better.
Yeah, we're just working on it. But I thought the first one was pretty successful.
How many views have we got on that? 10?
Yeah, probably something like that. Sean keeps telling me
Huge.
the stats. What a nerd. But all right, so I guess we'll do this at the same time next week.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you
Make
for
sure
the
you go to
support.
read the power rankings.
Yeah, read the power rankings.
Do your picks.
Do your picks. Don't forget.
All
I'll
right.
hurt you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right, thank you.
Oh, all right, pause. All right, we did it.
Still says recording.
Oh, what the fuck? I paused recording.